Okay, so can we transition over?
Rick Ord was present at the creation of the computer science on the UCSD campus. In the 1980s, he helped create the CSE Help Force together with Greg Hidley. The duo were the first to lay the grounds for the future perfection of assistance in areas applied. Hidley managed to hire two nuggets, Dave Vargo and Glenn Little.
So back in the 80s, after I finally graduated from the EECS department with a degree in computer science, I ended up going into the CSE Help. And with Greg Hidley, he was never around. He was always playing with his motorcycle and working at other things besides CSE Help. So I pretty much did everything. I was the one that took over all of CSE Help. We had a lot of problems, and not with the faculty, but it was mostly with the undergrad students who wanted to become grad students and tell us what to do. We also had battles with the Division of Engineering at the time, and with the academic computing services, who wanted to tell us what to do, but we wanted to tell them what to do instead. So when the EECS department finally split into CSE and ECE, I stayed with CSE, and eventually I was asked to start teaching some classes. And I just recently found out that this whole time I've been supposed to be teaching in ECE instead of CSE. So I've talked to the dean, our new dean from Berkeley. Of course, he's coming from the EECS department up there, and he told me that not to worry because his plans are to combine the ECE and CSE departments back into EECS because it's so successful at Berkeley. So he told me that was very similar to the same thing that happened with AT&T back in the 80s, split into the baby bells, but now they're all back as AT&T again. So his ultimate plan is just to bring us all back into EECS again, and eventually just have a single department within the School of Engineering. And I don't know what the acronym is going to be, but I know that there's going to be a B and an N and a few other letters in there to spell out something that is hopefully going to be meaningful.
Thus, Ord was asked to teach and therefore joined the faculty, stepping over to the other side. Besides the birth of CSE Help, Student Affairs was established with 2 Student Affairs staff, 80 graduate students, and 400 undergraduate students. With losing Rick Ord and the at-capacity for student affairs, this created a wave of awareness and a top-secret plan was launched. The general idea was for staff to slowly gather useful information and overthrow the department by the oldest trick in the world, key knowledge. While everyone was contributing to the plan, some staff dispersed to other departments, taking along what they learned while at CSE, powerful knowledge, but still strong allies with CSE.
So one day, my nylons and undergarments had all just shifted, if you know what I mean. And so I'm walking down the hall to my office, and I realized that they had shifted, so I discreetly looked down the hall. There was nobody there. I discreetly reach back, and I unadjust everything. And I think I'm good. Next day, I'm sitting in my office. Steve Hopper comes down and he goes, it seems to be working. And I said, what's working? And he goes, well, we installed security cameras on your floor. And I turned all red. Now, Steve was not referring to anything, except for the fact that he came in to talk about how excited he was about these security cameras. But you know how you get when the adrenaline just flushes up? Because I know him and Dave Wargo. If there had been YouTube in 1991 or 2, you would have seen me. I would have probably had millions of hits and it would have gone viral as I picked my underwear out of my rear end in the hallway. But luckily, I tried to be really casual. So how does that work? And he goes, how long does it last? And it turned out it was, they ran 24, 48 hours at a time, and they only looked, and then it was a reloop, right? So they didn't really look at it until, unless there was an incident. So for the next 48 hours. I almost slept there. I put my own personal vigilante. For fun. We had fun with each other. They were just a little too smart for their own good. And nobody supervised them.
It was fabulous.
Yeah, it really was.
I thought Rick was their supervisor.
Oh, come
Well,
on.
That's like the inmates running the asylum.
Love you, Rick.
He knows it.
Yeah, why did he go to the other track, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Sorry, Rick. Academic track.
So we had a problem with the air balance, and so Jan Cox's office, she was the MSO, was at the end, and so they needed to get into the vent over her doorway. Well, the guy they sent out was on the large side.
Gravitationally challenged.
So when we heard this rattling and this banging, and all of a sudden sort of these muffled cries, and we went into her office, and there was his butt hanging out of there was nothing that we could see except for the proverbial butt crack. So the pants had fallen down, and he was literally stuck like Winnie the Pooh. And so that was a story that I'll never forget.
And such a time. And the thing is, Joanna and Molly and I and were talking about this. And for all this stuff, it was still a kinder and gentler time. When I look at the things I deal with now, and the environment now.
It's more personable.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know if
didn't
it was
have.
the environment because we were in the.
When I got there, we
APM
were the only
building.
one using email.
Well, I think there was less regulation, and it was easier for somebody to use their own judgment and not have to be questioned 30 times about it. And
I think
so,
it was slower too.
yeah, and we.
Well, that's because we had.
Too gay. Go ahead.
So why are we doing this again?
Oh, we're trying to give them something to do to occupy the lab until we, overthrow the department.
How about this?
That's too good for the department. I mean, for the lab.
Yeah.
How about this? That looks good.
That's good.
That's good. Speakers. They like speakers.
Yeah. I think they need some wire.
Don't forget that software. Yeah.
San Diego-born David Barreño tells it all.
Fund manager. I thought it was a fun manager. After a few weeks here with Martha Chavez, it's now Martha Salinas, we did a Vulcan mind meld, and I spent so much time with her in the mind meld that I think my first 2 months after promotion, people were calling me Martha. So I got used to being called Martha for about the first 2 months post-promotion.
With any uproar, there is branching. In the late century, a new group was formed, the Swedish Revolution.
Jag tror att vi behöver en riktigt bra plan om vi ska kunna ta över den här fakulteten. Vad sägs om att du infiltrerar ett utav deras möten?
Det går bra.
Sen kanske du kan ta en massa anteckningar och ge till mig.
Ja, det ska jag.
Jag tror att det är bra. Och så kanske du kan få med dem ut en kväll och ha en sån här kamera i din slips, så kan du filma liksom.
Fina mat och mycket vin och öl.
Ger de mycket vin? Jag tror att de kan bli fulla och göra bort sig.
Ja.
Och så tar vi över, för då blir de av med sina jobb.
Ja,
Vad tror du om det?
vad bra.
Ja, jag skickar över mina anteckningar till dig.
Okej,
Och så kan du svara och se om du kommer på några fler idéer.
det gör jag.
Ja, jag tror att det blir jättebra. Okej.
Okej.
Tack för ett lyckat
Ja.
möte.
Bra, lycka till.
Tack så mycket.
Hej då.